fellow Israelite brothers and sisters, whether you adopted, grafted, scattered, heirs, joint heirs, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is a retake, and it's a retake on Did Israel Really Exist? And the reason I'm redoing it is because the other video, I want to get directly to the meat of the issue. Back in the late 1800s, there was a stele or a tablet, a piece that was excavated by a group of archaeologists, and this was from one of the Egyptian rulers by the name of Merneptah, M-E-R-N-E-P-T-A-H. Merneptah, and they call it Merneptah stele because apparently what the Egyptians did, the rulers did, they wrote down historical artifacts on these tablets, which was things that were of historical value and noteworthiness. So apparently they wrote down, and I'm just moving some of the shade out of the way for you, they wrote down information regarding the wars that were won by Egypt. Apparently that they felt that was historical enough so that people coming across this information or other kings and rulers down the road would know and maintain their history. And of course, you know, Egypt is recognized for its culture. Egypt is recognized for its ability to contribute to math, reading, all of that we know that Egypt is noted worthy for, so we recognize that. And in this document, or this steel plate, I think that's why they call it the Merneptah stele, was on all of this history. They noted on the last few lines, and it said that Egypt had won the war, or won a battle, or something to that effect with Egypt, and Egypt will be no more. The seed of Joseph will be no more. You can get more details on that when you just go to Wikipedia, look it up, go online, Google it. They have pictures of this thing. It's a very tall, I think they say it's about 10 foot high. I'm not for sure. But again, it's called the Merneptah. And that was the ruler at that time, believed to be Ramesses II's son. And of course, we know that Ramesses and what timeline he was in. So again, that name is called M-E-R-N-E-P-T-A-H. So check that out. It's called the Merneptah stele. Now, the reason why I bring this up, that Israel really exists, is this. Because, you know, there's a lot of people who don't feel that Israel ever existed. They think that it's something that's made up. And I've come across some of that foolishness. You know, when you at talking with a group of guys, whether you're at a park or something like that, somebody always has something slick to say, that how they don't want to believe the Bible. They always want to find an excuse. And when you start to bring up the Bible, you know, keeping the Torah and all like that, they'll say something to the fact, well, you know, Israel has never existed. Nobody can find anything about Israel. Nobody can find out who they were, who they are. Nobody can find out anything. Nobody knows. You'll find no evidence. And one of the things that these guys always bring up is what somebody else said. They never give me a book. They never give me a date, a time. They never give me anything to support what they say. And it's always, well, you know, they say. I don't know who they is, but everybody always say, well, you know, they say. So whenever they say, anybody says they say, and they don't tell you who they are, I automatically start to discount the information by 50% and start to wait until I can get more information to see if they know what they're talking about themselves. But they always say, scientists say, scientists say. And nobody ever gives you the name of the scientist, of course not. They never give you that information. And of course, my rule is this. When I'm having these discussions, a lot of times I don't even get into debates with people if they don't come out of the Holy Scriptures. I don't even debate with them. And the moment you say that the Bible is made up, the Bible is King James wrote it. I heard some really stupid foolishness. Oh, King James wrote the Bible. I mean, you know, that's just people saying things because, and then, you know, off the top of their head without any type of logic, really. And again, they always say, well, you know, they say that the Bible was used as a political weapon to keep people in all of the countries in the world under slavery by a group of a council. I just don't go for it. I mean, I always say, what is your reference? Who is your source? You're giving me information, but what's your source? And the moment I say I'm going to go back into the Scriptures, nobody wants to deal with that. And so as a person that is educated, I'm not the smartest guy, but I know how to read and I know how to interpret things, okay? So what I'm saying is I know enough to not go against archaeological science as a method of proving a fact. Archaeological evidence is through a reputable source of when they do excavations and they find things. They have found a number of artifacts that can actually prove history, substantiate history, and confirm a whole lot of different things. So I respect it as a source, as a scientific source of information. So that's where I'm at with that. That being said, I've always respected that source of information. And when people say, scientists say Israel never existed, and you cannot tell me the name of one scientist, you can't tell me the name of one researcher that says that Israel never existed and it's all buffoonery, then I need a source. And if you tell me that all you talk about is Egypt, 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 and look at what archaeologists found and all through these excavations that they've done, they can substantiate this, substantiate that. We know that. We know that Egypt was a cultural foundation for the entire world. Nobody's ever doubting that. But what you have said is that you accept what archaeologists have found based upon Egypt and supporting that as being the foundation or the mother for the world culture. Got no problem with that. And I've never went against, I'm too smart to go against what is excavated from the ground by archaeologists to say that isn't real. I'm too smart for that because I know that method of research and I have a lot of respect for it. But here's the issue now. Your method of credible source, your method of fact-finding and substantiating fact-finding through the Merneptah still has mentioned the word Israel. Therefore, one has to conclude that if it is mentioned by the very culture that you say is the mother of all worlds, no problem. Is the culture of all cultures, no problem. Is the foundation for math, arithmetic, reading and language, I got no problem with that. But now, that same culture, through the Merneptah still has mentioned the word Israel. So how do you handle that? So therefore, I got proof that Israel existed. I have the scientific baseline or the method that you use to substantiate evidence, the scientific physical source that some of you all who say Israel never existed, this is what you say you use. This is the source. This is a methodology of information that you use as archaeological evidence. So when these archaeologists go out there and excavate the ground across the world in the Middle East and Egypt and Africa, and when they find artifacts that you say substantiate a lot of evidence, and how do you handle this now? So look that up. That's called the Merneptah. Oh, Merneptah. Merneptah. Look that up. Google it. Wikipedia it. Using the type of encyclopedia source, and you will see that they mentioned the word Israel and the fact that they had defeated Israel and that Israel as a seed would be no more. That comment in and of itself substantiates the Holy Scriptures. When the Almighty said, I'm so upset with Israel, I'm so upset with their stiffness, stiff-neckedness, hard-heartedness, rebelliousness, that I'm going to wipe them from the face of the earth. I'm going to scatter them, and they will no longer know who their fathers are or their heritage. That Merneptah still, and they use the word still because it's a tablet. It was a stone. It's like, some say it was about 7 to 10 feet tall. I don't know how many feet wide, but this ruler, Egyptian ruler, thought, who is the son of Ramesses, thought it was important enough to document in Egyptian history regarding Israel. So Israel did exist. The scientific evidence is there. I didn't need it. I didn't need that information at all because I go by the Holy Scriptures. That is my source of information. That is my belief system. And now that that exists, and it's not a new discovery, by the way. It's not a new discovery. I just took the time to look because I was engaged into a conversation and somebody had made mention of that it's all lies. You've been lied to. Israel never existed. It's a form of control. It never ever existed. You can find it nowhere. Well, I started to do my own research on it. Not that I had doubt. I wanted to do the research on it to prove this person wrong. Because there's no way you can tell me that we got a Bible that are full of prophets who we know, even through the Dead Sea Scrolls, when you look at the book of Daniel, that was confirmed in the Dead Sea Scrolls and the time period that they were found. Daniel existed. The book of Daniel was right there with the Dead Sea Scrolls, which means you got a prophet in the Bible who is telling you way before time who are going to be the 4 kingdoms of the earth. That's how powerful that book is. And when some people say, well, you don't know when Daniel was written, you don't know if it's authentic, you don't know the source and time that it was written, but when you find something like the Dead Sea Scrolls and find out that the book of Daniel was there, then, and you got a time period that dates back to make it substantial enough to say, wow, Daniel was even able to predict this, and we know that it's true. So I'm going to be doing a lesson on that too. It's going to be called The Gospel According to the Prophets, and I'm going to show you the encyclopedia how you can break Daniel down to even confirm what actually took place. So I just wanted to leave that with you. I redid that because I wanted to get straight into the meat of the matter of what did Israel really exist. So again, look that up. MERNEPTAH. It's called the Merneptah Stele. It was found in the late 1800s, and it was something that was excavated by archaeologists, and it was the work of Merneptah was his name, and he was a son of Ramesses II, and he documented a lot of historical facts, including mentioning Israel. So be blessed. God is real. Thank you for tuning in. Be blessed.